Hello friends, welcome to our online platform of ABC of Food. This is lecture number 3 and in this video we will be discussing about general principle of canning. As we all know that canning is a process of preservation. Canning is general term applied to the process of packaging a food in a container for a purpose of extending its shelf life. The process of sealing of foodstuffs in permanent, hermetically sealed containers and sterilizing them by heat for a long storage is known as canning. The word hermetic means airtight, and hermetically sealed containers is one that is suitably designed to maintain the commercial sterility, that is, to prevent the entrance of bacteria and to maintain desired vacuum in the can. Fruit and vegetables are canned in the season when the raw material is available in plenty. The canned products are sold in the off season and give better returns to the grower. Now we will see the history of a canning. It was around in the year 1806 Nicolas Appert in France invented a process of sealing foods in hermetically in containers and sterilizing them by heat. In honor of the inventor, canning is also known as appetizing. Saddington in England was the first to describe a method of canning of foods in 1807. In 1810, Peter Durand, another Englishman, obtained the first British patent on canning of foods in tin containers. In 1817, William Underwood introduced canning of fruits on a commercial scale in USA. Now we will see the steps of process of canning. The first step is selection of fruits and vegetables. We select the fruits or vegetables which we want to can. It should be fresh and free from dirt. Second step is grading. It is done according to the size and color of fruits and vegetables. Third step is washing or sorting. Washing is done to remove the dirt, pesticides, and sorting is done to remove the underripe or overripe fruits and vegetables. The fourth step is peeling. It is done to remove outer covering of the fruit and vegetables. It is mainly done by hand or by mechanical means or by steam or by dipping in a lye solution. Fifth step is cutting or slicing. Pieces are cut according to the type of fruits and vegetables. Some are sliced and some are diced. Seventh step is blanching. It is done for vegetables, dipping in boiling water for 2 to 5 minutes followed by cooling. Eighth step is filling. Filling in containers containing brine syrup or sugar syrup. Ninth is exhausting. In exhausting, removal of gases from can is done to reduce chemical reaction. Tenth step is sealing. Cans are sealed airtightly by means of a can sealer. 11th is processing. Cans are heated to activate the bacteria. And after processing, cans are cooled and then labeling is done for storage and transportation. In the coming slides, we will see the all steps in detail. The first step is selection of fruit and vegetables. Fruit and vegetables should be absolutely fresh, ripe, firm, and uniformly mature. Overripe fruits should be rejected because they are infected with microorganisms and give a poor quality product. Unripe fruits should be rejected because they generate cereal and toughen on canning. All vegetables except tomatoes should be tender and fully ripe. Second is grading. The selected fruits and vegetables are graded according to their size and color to obtain uniform quality. This is done by hand or by machines such as a screw grader and a roller grader. Fruit like berries, plums, and cherries are graded whole, while peaches, pears, apricots, mangoes, pineapple are generally graded after cutting into pieces or slices. The third process is washing and salting. It is very important to remove pesticide spray residue and dust from fruits and vegetables. Fruit and vegetables can be washed in different ways by soaking in a dilute solution of potassium permanganate or root crops which are washed by soaking in water containing 25 to 50 ppm of chlorine. Other methods of washing can be spray washing or by steam washing. Fourth step is peeling. As we know that objective of peeling is to remove the outer layer. It can be done in various ways. First, by hand peeling. It is mostly in case of fruits of irregular shape, for example mango, papaya, where mechanical peeling is not possible. Second is steam peeling. Potatoes, tomatoes are peeled by steam or by boiling water. Third is mechanical peeling. This is done in case of apples, peaches, pineapples, and cherries, and also for root vegetables like carrots, turnips, and potatoes. Another is lye peeling. Fruits like peaches, apricots, sweet oranges, and vegetables are peeled by dipping them in 1 to 2% boiling caustic soda solution, that is NOH solution, also known as lye solution, for 30 seconds to 2 minutes depending on the nature and maturity. Hot lye loosens the skin by dissolving the pectin. The peel is then removed easily by hand. Any trace of alkali is removed by washing the fruit or vegetables thoroughly in running cold water or by dipping it for a few seconds in 0.5% of citric acid solution. Other is flame peeling. It is done only for garlic and onion which have a papery outer covering. This is just burnt off. Vegetable like peas are shelled, carrots are scraped, and beans are snipped or trimmed. Fifth step is cutting or slicing or dicing. Pieces of the size required for canning are cut. Seed, stone, and core are removed. Some fruits like plum, from which the seeds cannot be taken out, are easily canned whole. As you can see in the picture, some vegetables are diced, some are sliced. The sixth step is blanching. It is also known as scalding, parboiling, or pre-cooking. It is usually done in case of vegetables by exposing them to boiling water or steam for 2 to 5 minutes, followed by cooling. It inactivates most of the plant enzymes. It reduces the area of leafy vegetables such as spinach by shrinkage or wilting, making their packing easier. It enhances the green color of vegetables such as peas, broccoli, and spinach. Remove undesirable acid and astringent taste of the peel and thus improves the flavor. It also removes the skin of vegetables such as beetroot and tomatoes which help in their peeling. The seventh step is filling. Before filling, cans are washed with hot water and sterilized. After filling, covering with syrup or brine is done and this process is called syruping or brining. Brine is a salt solution. A solution of sugar in water is called syrup. Normally, sucrose syrup is used in canning. Syrup is added to improve the flavor and to serve as a heat transfer medium for facilitating processing. Syruping is done only for fruits and the brining is done only for vegetables. Common salt of good quality, free from iron, should be used. Eighth step is exhausting. After syruping or brining, the cans are loosely covered with lids and exhausted. The process of removal of air from cans is known as exhausting. After filling and leading or clenching, exhausting is essential. The major advantages of exhausting are corrosion of the tin plate and pinholing during storage is avoided. It minimizes the discoloration by preventing the oxidation. Containers are exhausted either by heating or by mechanically. The heat treatment method is generally used. Ninth is sealing. Immediately after exhausting, the cans are sealed airtight by means of a can sealer, as you can see in the picture. 10th step is processing. The term processing in canning technology means heating of a canned food and also known as retorting. Processing time and temperature should be adequate to eliminate all the bacterial growth. Moreover, overcooking should be avoided as it spoils the flavor and appearance of the product. Almost all fruits and acid vegetables can be processed at a temperature of 100 degrees centigrade, that is, that is in boiling water. 11th and final step is cooling and then storage. After processing, the cans are cooled rapidly to stop the cooking process and to prevent stack burning. Cooling is done by the following methods: either by dipping or immersing in the hot cans in tanks containing cold water, or by spraying cans with jets of cold water, or by exposing the cans to air. After cooling, the cans labeling is done and then packed in a strong wooden cases or cardboard cartons and stored in a cool and dry place. Storage of cans at high temperature should be avoided as it shortens the shelf life of the product and often leads to the formation of hydrogen swell. It is a defect of a can. Now we will see the type of containers we used in the canning process. First is tin container. Tin containers are made up of thin steel plate of low carbon content. During the process of manufacture of cans, tin plates, small microscopic spaces are always left uncoated. The content of the can may react with the exposed parts of the container and cause discoloration of the product or corrosion of the tin plate. When the corrosion is severe, the steel is attacked and black stains of iron sulfide are produced. Hence, it is necessary to coat the inside of the can with some material like liquor, which would prevent discoloration. Lacquer, the process of coating of inner side of can to prevent discoloration of product is called lacquering. The process is known as lacquering. Lacquers are of two types. First is acid resistant. The acid resistant lacquer is ordinary gold color enamel and the cans treated with it are called AR enamel cans. Fruit of the acid group with soluble coloring matter such as raspberry, strawberry, color grapes are stored in it. And second is sulfur resistant. The sulfur resistant liquor is also of golden color and the can coated with it are called CNML cans or SR cans. Sulfur resistant cans are used for non-acid products like peas, corns and beans. Another type of container is glass container. In this, foodstuffs are visible and resistant to the development of metallic flavor. It is a high initial cost, but they are usable. Generally, all steps are same as in canning. Bottles are washed and sterilized before filling, and about 1 to 2 centimeter head space is left. Now we will see the spoilage in canned food. First is biological spoilage. Thermophilic and mesophilic spore forming bacteria are responsible for spoilage in canned foods. Some of them are Clostridium bacillus species. Flat sour spoilage occurs mostly in low acid food by bacteria such as Bacillus coagulans and Bacillus stereothermophilus, which produce acid without a gas. It is a unit for consumption as it has a sour odor. Sorry, it is unfit for consumption. Unfit for consumption and as it sour odor. Thermophilic acid spoilage occurs due to a Clostridium thermosaccharolyticum that produces carbon dioxide and hydrogen gas which causes swelling of can, even bursting of can also. Third is sulfide spoilage, also known as sulfur stinker, caused by Clostridium nigrificans desulfatomaculum type of bacteria. Second is physical and chemical spoilages. First is swell. In this, both ends of the cans are bulged. Neither end will remain flat without pressure. Some swells, especially in acid products, may result from chemical reaction between the contents and the container. Second is flipper. In this, only one end is slack or slightly bulged. That end will remain flat if pressed in. Flipper results from a lack of vacuum. Third is springers. In this, one end of a can bulges. Manual pressure on the bulged end forces the opposite end out, or the same end will spring out with release of pressure. Fourth is hydrogen swell. In this, a bulged closed metal can caused by hydrogen produced therein by reaction of the metal with the content of the can. Actually, this is due to the presence of hydrogen gas in the can. Fifth is rust. Iron oxide produced by moisture in contact with the unprotected base plate metal. Sixth is pinhole. This is a minute opening in the base plate due to a corrosion. Seventh is leakage. It is due to defective seaming caused by excessive internal pressure during handling. And last is breathing. It is a very tiny leak in can through which air can pass in and destroy the vacuum. So here we stop our topic, and if you like this video, please subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.